Woojin Park stood alone in the center of the Galactic Tribunal. The room was massive. Thousands of seats rose around him in circles that went up toward a ceiling so high he could barely see it. Alien faces of every kind looked down at him. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some had no faces at all, just lights that blinked where eyes should be. Woojin had stood in this room 147 times. He knew every crack in the floor. Case number 147, he said, his voice steady. Earth requests a ruling on the Terra's mining rights. The Kaleri Dominion took our stations by force 12 years ago. We have shown proof. We have shown witnesses. We ask only for justice. The High Arbiter Velos sat on the tallest seat. He was old, even by alien standards. His skin was gray and thin like paper. He looked at Woojin the way someone might look at an insect. The tribunal has reviewed the case, Velos said slowly. We find that more time is needed. The case is postponed. Indefinitely. Woojin did not move. He had heard these words before. Every time. For 30 years. He bowed his head slightly and walked out of the room. His footsteps echoed in the silence. Outside, Taiho Kong was waiting. He was Earth's chief ambassador, a man in his 60s with gray hair and tired eyes. He had given 20 years of his life to the Federation. He had believed in it once. Same result? Taiho asked. Right. Same result? Woojin answered. They walked together through the long halls of Station Axiom. Aliens passed them without looking. Humans were common now, but they were never truly seen. They were tolerated. Nothing more. I counted again. Taiho said quietly. 147 cases. Not one verdict. Not one. Woojin nodded. They delay us. They lose our documents. They find problems with our evidence. Always something. It is not accident, Taiho said. I have been thinking. 30 years. Every species in the Federation has won cases against others. Border disputes. Trade fights. Even wars have been settled here. But Earth. Nothing. They reached Taiho's office. It was small and plain. Humans were not given much space on Station Axiom. Taiho sat down and turned on his computer. He had been collecting records for months. Every Earth case. Every delay. Every excuse. Look at this, he said. Woojin leaned over his shoulder. The screen showed a list of judges. Next to each name was a date. And next to each date was the word resigned or transferred or deceased. Every judge assigned to our cases, Taiho said, gone. All of them. Woojin felt cold. What are you saying? Before Taiho could answer, a message appeared on his screen. It was marked private. No sender name, just 3 words. Garden. 1 hour. The garden on Station Axiom was one of the few beautiful places. It had plants from 100 worlds. Water fell from artificial cliffs into pools filled with strange fish. Taiho walked slowly between the trees until he found her. Judge Mirasol was from the Irani Collective. She looked almost human, except her skin was pale blue and her eyes had no pupils. She was young for a judge. She was also afraid. Taiho could see it in the way she kept looking around. Thank you for meeting me, she said. Her voice was soft like wind. You sent the message? Taiho asked. She nodded. I need to tell you something. Something the tribunal has hidden for many years. Taiho waited. The judges are afraid, Mirasol said. Not of humans. Of what happens when they try to help humans. I do not understand. She stepped closer. 15 years ago, a judge named Orvax agreed to hear an Earth case. He was found dead 3 days before the trial. They said it was an accident, a malfunction in his ship. She paused. 10 years ago, Judge Thiessen took an Earth case. She was killed in her home. They said it was a robbery. How many? Taiho asked. His voice was barely a whisper. 7 judges, Mirasol said. 7 in 20 years. All killed before they could rule on Earth's cases. The tribunal knows. They have always known. But they say nothing. They are afraid. Taiho felt anger rising in his chest. Who is doing this? I do not know for certain, she said. But the Kalari have the most to gain. Every time Earth loses, they win. They take your territories. They steal your trade. And no one stops them because no one will judge them. Why are you telling me this? Marisol looked at him with her strange, empty eyes. Because I believe in justice. And because I am tired of being afraid, I will hear your case, Ambassador. Case 147. I will give you your trial. Taiho took her hands. They were cold, but he held them anyway. You are brave, but they will come for you too, she said. But someone must be first. Someone must stand. That night, Taiho sent a message to Earth. He sat alone in his office, looking at the stars through his small window. Somewhere out there was home. Somewhere out there, 8 billion people were waiting for justice that would never come. His message was short. They are not ignoring us. They are afraid to help us. Every judge who tried has been killed. The tribunal knows. They have done nothing. Our cases will never move forward unless we protect the judges ourselves, unless we force the galaxy to see what is happening. He sent the message and turned off his computer. Commander Nari Yoon received the message on her ship. The Iron Promise orbiting Earth's moon. She read it 3 times. Then she called her officers together. Prepare the fleet, she said. We are going to station Axiom. For what purpose, Commander? Her first officer asked. Nari looked at him with eyes that had seen too many battles. To remind the galaxy that humans do not beg, and we do not forget. In his office, High Arbiter Velos also received a copy of Taiho's message. His spies were everywhere. He read it and felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear the humans knew, and the humans were coming. He reached for his communicator and called Counselor Thren of the Kayari Dominion. We have a problem, he said. On the other end, Thren laughed. There is no problem. Humans are weak. They talk and talk but do nothing. Let them come. Let them make noise. In the end, they will accept their place. Velos was not so sure. He had studied humans. He had seen what they did to their own world, how they survived wars that killed billions, how they rebuilt from ashes again and again. You do not understand them, Velos said quietly. Ought understand enough, Thren replied. They are children in a galaxy of ancients. They will learn. He ended the call. Velos sat in the darkness for a long time. He thought about the judges who had died. He thought about the silence that had protected the tribunal for so long, and he wondered if that silence was about to break. Far away, human ships began to move. The silence of courts was ending, and something else was beginning. The tribunal chamber was full for the first time in years. Word had spread across the station. A judge had agreed to hear an Earth case. Not just any case, but Case 147, the Terra's mining dispute. After 30 years of silence, something was finally happening. Woojin Park stood in the center again, but this time, he was not alone. Behind him sat Taiho Kong and a woman with sharp eyes and short black hair. Her name was Hannah Cho. She was Earth's intelligence officer. She had come to watch. Judge Myra Saul entered the chamber. The room went quiet. She walked slowly to her seat, her blue skin glowing softly under the lights. She did not look afraid, but Taiho knew she was. They all were. Case 147, Myra Saul announced. Earth versus the Kalari Dominion. The matter of the Terra's mining stations. We will hear arguments today. Counselor Thren sat in the upper seats with his advisors. He was tall and thin, with skin like dark red leather and eyes that never blinked. He watched Myra Saul the way a predator watches its prey. Woojin began his argument. He spoke clearly and simply. He showed maps of the Terra system. He showed records of Earth's claim going back 50 years. He showed footage of Kalari ships attacking the stations, killing workers, taking everything. The evidence is clear, Woojin said. The Kalari took what was ours. We ask only that they return it. Thren stood to respond. His voice was smooth and cold. The humans are confused. The Terra system was always Kalari territory. Their claim is based on false documents. We reject it completely. The argument went back and forth. Hours passed. Marisol listened carefully, asking questions, taking notes. For the first time, Tai-Ho felt something like hope. Then the lights went out. The chamber fell into darkness. People screamed. Tai-Ho heard running footsteps, shouts in alien languages he did not understand. He tried to stand, but someone pushed him down. A flash of light. Then another. Energy weapons. Hannah Cho was already moving. She had been watching the shadows since the trial began. She had seen figures moving in the upper levels. Now she ran toward the judge's platform, pushing through the crowd. 2 assassins stood over Marisol. They wore black armor and carried long rifles. One of them aimed at the judge's head. Hannah did not think. She jumped. The shot hit her in the side. Pain exploded through her body, but she kept moving. She crashed into the first assassin, knocking him down. The second one turned to shoot her, but Marisol grabbed his arm. He threw her away, but it was enough. Station security arrived, their own weapons blazing. The assassins were dead in seconds. Hannah lay on the ground, blood pooling under her. Tai-Ho reached her first. "Stay with me," he said. "Stay with me, Hannah." She looked up at him and smiled weakly. "Got him," she whispered. "Got him." The medics came. They took Hannah away. Marisol was shaking, but unhurt. The trial was over before it truly began. 2 hours later, High Arbiter Velos addressed the station. His face was on every screen. "The tribunal will suspend all sessions," he said. "Until security can be guaranteed, no cases will proceed, especially those involving Earth. The risk is too great." Tai-Ho watched the announcement from the medical center, sitting beside Hannah's bed. She was stable, but weak. The doctor said she would live. "They are using this," Tai-Ho said quietly. "They are using the attack as an excuse to stop our cases again." Hannah opened her eyes. "Then do not let them. What can I do? They have all the power here." "Not all," Hannah said. She reached for her datapad on the table beside her. "I took something from the assassin." A chip. Inside his armor, Tai-Ho took the chip. What is on it? I do not know yet, but I will find out. 3 days later, Commander Narration arrived at Station Axiom. Her fleet was small. Only 15 ships, but they were the newest and fastest Earthhead. She requested a meeting with the Galactic Council. The council chamber was smaller than the tribunal. Only the leaders of the major species sat here. Velos was present. Thren was present. Others from a dozen worlds filled the remaining seats. Nari stood before them in her military uniform. She was not tall, but she had a presence that filled the room. "The tribunal claims it cannot guarantee safety," she said. "So Earth will provide that safety. We propose the Judicial Guardian Protocol. Human soldiers will guard any judge who agrees to hear Earth's cases. We will protect them with our lives." Velos shook his head. "This is not acceptable. Human soldiers in our tribunal. It would appear that you are threatening the judges, or offering to protect them," Nari said. "Something you have failed to do." Thren laughed. It was an ugly sound. "The humans think they can come here and take control. This is exactly why we cannot trust them. They are aggressive, dangerous. We are dangerous only to those who attack us," Nari replied. "Or those who let others attack us while they do nothing." The debate continued. Some species supported Earth. The Irani, grateful that Hannah had saved their judge, spoke in favor. But Thren had allies. Many allies. They blocked every proposal. Back in the medical center, Hannah Cho finally cracked the chip. What she found made her blood run cold. The assassins were not mercenaries. They were Kalari Special Forces. The chip contained orders, payment records, and communications, all leading back to one person. Counselor THRN. She called Tai-Ho immediately. It was him. Thren ordered the attack. And not just this one. "I found records going back 20 years. Every assassination. Every murdered judge. He ordered them all." Tai-Ho closed his eyes. "Can we prove it?" "Yes, the evidence is clear." "Then we will show the council. They will have to act." But when Tai-Ho presented the evidence, The council did nothing. They questioned the source. They demanded more proof. They said they would investigate. Thren sat in his seat and smiled. That night, Narayun met with Taiho in his office. "You'll never help us," she said. "They are afraid of Thren, afraid of the Kaleri. They would rather let us suffer than risk conflict." "Then what do we do?" Taiho asked. Nari looked out the window at the stars. "We leave. We take our people, our ships, our trade, and we go home. Let them see what the galaxy looks like without us. That is a dangerous choice. Staying here is more dangerous. We beg for justice we will never receive. We watch our people die while they debate." No more. Taiho thought for a long time. He thought about 30 years of cases, 30 years of silence, 30 years of patience that had earned them nothing. "Send the message," he said finally. "Recall everyone. Every ambassador, every trader, every ship. We are going home." The next morning, human ships began leaving Station Axiom. The docks that were always busy with Earth traders fell silent. The restaurants that served human food closed. The companies that used human technology scrambled to find alternatives. Within a week, markets across the galaxy began to shake. Trade routes collapsed. Prices rose. Species that had ignored humanity for decades suddenly realized how much they needed them. Velo sent message after message to Earth. They went unanswered. Terran laughed and told the council not to worry. "They will come back," he said. "They have no choice." But on the last day before the final human ship departed, Taiho Kong sent one message to the entire galaxy. It played on every screen, in every station, on every world. It came to the galaxy seeking justice. "You offered us silence. You let our people die. You watched and did nothing. Now hear this. Earth withdraws from the Galactic Federation. We will not beg. We will not wait. And we will not forget. One day, you will need us. On that day, remember how you treated us. Remember and be afraid." The transmission ended. The stars had never seemed so cold. The grand
Council chamber.
Widell Simon out. I third we roll and will Some had traveled for weeks to attend. The air was thick with tension. Everyone knew why they were here. Earth had left the Federation. High Arbater Velos opened the session. His voice was tired. "We are gathered to discuss the human withdrawal. Their departure has caused significant disruption. We must find a solution." Counselor Thren spoke first. He was calm, even cheerful. "The humans have acted like children. They did not get what they wanted, so they ran home. I say let them go. The galaxy does not need them." But others disagreed. The Irani ambassador stood. "Our medical supplies come from Earth. Their doctors develop treatments that save millions of our people every year. Without them, we will lose those treatments." A representative from the Veth Collective added, "Human navigation systems guide half the trade ships in the galaxy. Our shipping costs have doubled since they left. Tripled in some sectors." More voices joined in. The Mori depended on human food technology. The Felon used human entertainment on every world. The Draxan bought human weapons for their border defense. Species that had ignored humanity for decades now realized how deeply Earth had woven itself into galactic life. Thren watched this with growing anger. "You are all cowards," he said. "The humans are weak. They have no military power. They have no territory beyond their small corner of space. If they want to hide there, let them hide. Judge Marisol, still recovering from the assassination attempt, spoke from her seat. Perhaps we should ask why they left. Perhaps we should admit that we failed them. We failed no one, Thren snapped. The tribunal is fair. The council is fair. The humans simply could not accept that their cases had no merit. That is a lie. The voice came from the back of the chamber. Everyone turned. Taiho Kong walked down the center aisle. He had not left with the other ambassadors. He had stayed for this moment. I requested to speak, Taiho said. Before I leave forever, I want the galaxy to hear the truth. Fellows nodded slowly. You may speak, Ambassador. One final time. Taiho reached the center of the room. He looked up at the thousands of faces watching him. Alien eyes of every color stared back. 30 years ago, Earth joined this federation, he began. We were young. We were excited. We believed in your laws. Your courts. Your promises of justice for all. We believed we had found a family among the stars. He paused. We were wrong. For 30 years, we submitted our cases to the tribunal. 147 cases. Trade disputes. Territory claims. Crimes against our people. Not one received a verdict. Not one. We asked why. We were told to wait, to be patient, that justice takes time. So we waited, and waited, and waited. Instead, judges died. 7 judges who agreed to hear our cases were murdered. The tribunal knew. High Arbiter Velos knew. And nothing was done. Velos shifted in his seat. He did not deny it. 3 weeks ago, Judge Marisol nearly became the 8th victim. She survived only because a human woman threw herself in front of the assassin's weapon. Hannah Cho almost died to save your judge. And what did the council do? You suspended our cases. You blamed us for the violence. You gave the killers exactly what they wanted. Thren stood. This is propaganda. The humans are trying to... I have proof, Taiho interrupted. He held up a data chip. This chip was taken from one of the assassins. It contains orders, payments, and communications. 20 years of evidence. Every assassination. Every attack. All ordered by Counselor Thren of the Kaleri Dominion. The chamber erupted. Voices shouted from every direction. Thren's face turned dark with rage. This is fabrication, Thren yelled. The humans created this evidence to frame me. The evidence is real, Marisol said. I have examined it myself. It is authentic, or chaos. Velos tried to restore order, but no one was listening. Species that had supported Thren began to pull away. Others demanded investigation. The unity of the council cracked like ice in spring. Finally, Velos called for silence. We will investigate the evidence, he said. Until the investigation is complete, Counselor Thren will step back from his position. I will do no such thing, Thren spat. He stood and walked toward the exit. His guards followed. The Kaleri do not answer to this council. We never have. And we never will. He left the chamber. The doors closed behind him. Taiho watched him go. He had hoped for more. He had hoped the evidence would be enough. But the galaxy was not ready to act. They were still afraid. Ambassador Kong Velos said, in light of this evidence, the Council is prepared to reconsider. If Earth returns to the Federation, we will create new protections. New security for the Tribunal? Things will change. Taiho shook his head. You have promised change before. You have never delivered. Words mean nothing without action. What action do you want? Allow us to protect the judges ourselves. Human soldiers. Human ships. We will guarantee safety for any judge who hears our cases. This is what we asked for. This is what you denied. The chamber was quiet. Velos looked at the other council members. Some nodded. Others looked away. We will vote, Velos said. The vote was close. Species that feared Kaleri revenge voted against. Species that depended on Earth voted for. In the end, The proposal failed. Not by much, but it failed. Taiho felt something break inside him. 30 years of hope. Gone. Then we have nothing more to discuss, he said quietly. Earth withdraws. Permanently. He walked out of the chamber. No one tried to stop him. Outside, Narayun was waiting with a shuttle. The vote, she asked. Failed. She nodded. She had expected this. The fleet is ready. We can leave within the hour. Wait, Taiho said. He looked back at the station one last time. Send a final message. To everyone. Every species. Every world. Let them know what we have decided. That night, Taiho's message played across the galaxy. We asked for justice. You gave us silence. We asked for protection. You gave us denial. We asked to be treated as equals. You treated us as nothing. So now we leave. Not in anger, but in sorrow. We believed in you. We believed in this Federation. That belief is dead. From this day forward, Earth stands alone. We will build our own future. We will protect our own people. And when the darkness comes for you, do not look to us for help. You have made your choice. Now live with it. The message ended. Human ships across the galaxy began their final journey home. Within days, the economic collapse began. Trade networks failed. Supply chains broke. Prices rose beyond what many species could pay. The Mori faced famine. The Orani faced medical shortages. The Felon faced riots, and on the Kolari border, something else was happening. Thren had returned home. He stood before his generals with a map of human space displayed on the wall. The humans have abandoned their colonies, he said, their stations, their mining operations. All unprotected. All waiting to be taken? Will the Federation not respond? A general asked. Thren smiled. The Federation cannot even feed itself right now. They will do nothing. By the time they recover, we will control everything the humans left behind. And then we will go further. He pointed to a small blue dot on the map. Earth. They think they are safe at home. They think isolation will protect them. They are wrong. We will take their colonies first, then their ships, then their world, and no one will stop us. His generals cheered. Far away on Earth, Commander Narayun watched the stars from her office window. Reports crossed her desk every hour. Kalari ships massing. Kalari forces moving. The enemy was coming. She had known this would happen. She had prepared for it. She opened a secure channel to Captain Junho Beek, commanding the warship Horizon's Edge. Status report, she said. The fleet is ready, Commander. Hidden in deep space. Waiting. Good, let them come. Let them think we are weak. And when they cross into our territory, we will show them what humans do when they are cornered. She ended the call and looked at the stars again. Somewhere out there, war was coming, and Earth was ready. The human assembly met in Seoul on a cold winter morning. The Great Hall was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth. Billions more watched from their homes. Their offices, their ships, scattered across the solar system. This was the most important gathering in human history since first contact. Woojin Park stood at the center podium. He looked older than he had a month ago. The weight of 30 years pressed down on him. Fellow citizens of Earth, he began, you have seen the news? You know why we left the Federation? You know that our cases went unheard, that our judges were murdered, that our calls for justice were ignored. Now we must decide what comes next. He paused and looked across the silent hall. Some say we should wait. Return to the Federation. Try again. I understand this view. I held it myself for many years. But I no longer believe it will work. The galaxy does not respect patience. The galaxy respects strength. Commander Narayun walked to the podium next. She wore her full military uniform. Her medals gleamed under the lights. I bring news from our borders, she said. The Kalari Dominion is moving. Their fleets are gathering near our abandoned colonies. Intelligence reports suggest they plan to take everything we left behind, and they will not stop there. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared above the assembly. It showed a map of space. Human territory was marked in blue. Colliery ships were marked in red. There were many red dots. Too many? This is what we face, Nari continued. 200 warships. Perhaps more. The largest colliery fleet ever assembled. They believe we are weak. They believe we will not fight, a voice called out from the assembly. Can we fight? Do we have the ships? Nari smiled. It was not a friendly smile. We have 30 ships in open space. That is what the galaxy knows about. But for 30 years, while we waited and hoped for justice, we also prepared for war. In secret shipyards, in hidden bases, we built a fleet that no one has ever seen. The hologram changed. New dots appeared. Blue dots. Hundreds of them. 300 warships, Nari said. Armed with weapons the galaxy has never faced. Crewed by soldiers who have trained their whole lives for this moment, the Kaleri think they are coming to claim empty space. They are coming to die. The assembly erupted. Some cheered. Others shouted questions. The noise was overwhelming. Taiho Kong raised his hand for silence. Slowly the hall quieted. War is not our first choice, he said. It is our last. But before we make this decision, you must see one more thing. Hanacho stepped forward. She was still healing from her wounds. She walked slowly, but her voice was strong. I have spent weeks studying the evidence from the assassin's chip, she said. What I found is worse than we imagined. Counselor Thren did not act alone. He had help from within the Federation. Officials who looked away. Judges who were bribed. Security officers who provided information to the killers. She showed documents, recordings, financial transfers. The evidence was clear and terrible. For 20 years, the Kalari have worked to isolate Earth, to weaken us, to prepare us for conquest. Every delay in our cases, every murdered judge, every blocked proposal. It was all part of a plan to destroy humanity. The assembly was silent. The truth sank in like poison. We did not fail because we were wrong, Hannah continued. We failed because we were targeted. The galaxy did not ignore us by accident. It ignored us by design. And now the designer is coming to finish what he started. Wu Jin returned to the podium. We must vote. Not for war. Humans do not start wars. But we must declare what we will do if war comes to us. I propose the Sovereign Protection Doctrine, he explained the doctrine. It was simple. Any attack on human interests would be met with overwhelming response. Any species that harbored enemies of Earth would be considered hostile. Any ally who stood with humanity would receive humanity's full protection. We are not asking the galaxy to help us, Wu Jin said. We are telling the galaxy that we will help ourselves, and anyone who stands in our way will regret it. The vote was held. It was not close. The doctrine passed with 97% support. That night, Taiho Kong recorded a message for the galaxy. It would be the last time most species heard a human voice for many months. People of the Federation, he began, I speak to you as a private citizen of Earth. I no longer hold any official position. I represent only myself. But I believe what I say speaks for all humanity. He looked into the camera with eyes that had seen too much. You denied us justice. You feared standing beside us. You watched as our people were murdered and did nothing. Now understand this. We never needed your protection. We offered you ours, and you refused. His voice grew harder. The Kalari are coming for us. We know this. We are ready. But they are not the only ones who should fear. Every species that helped them. Every official who looked away. Every judge who took bribes. We know who you are. We have your names. We have your crimes. One day, there will be a reckoning. He leaned forward. The next species that threatens humanity will learn why Earth survived its own apocalypse. Why we crawled back from nuclear fire? Why we rebuilt from plagues and wars that killed billions? We are not children in a galaxy of ancients. We are the descendants of survivors. We carry the memory of every catastrophe our world has ever faced. And we are still here. He paused. Think about that. Think carefully, and then choose your next actions with wisdom. The message ended. It played on every station, every planet, every ship. Across the galaxy, species that had never thought about humans suddenly thought about them very carefully. On Station Axiom, High Arbiter Velos watched the message alone in his chambers. He felt the weight of his mistakes pressing down on him. He had allowed this. He had let fear guide him. Now, humanity was lost, perhaps forever. Judge Myrosol sent a private message to Earth. It was short. You have proven you can fight. Now prove you are better than those who wronged you. The galaxy needs hope, not vengeance. Please remember this. Taiho read her message. He did not respond. On the Kalari border, Captain Junho Beek received orders from Commander Yoon. His ship, the Horizon's Edge, would be the first line of defense. 30 ships against 200. But they only needed to hold long enough. The hidden fleet is in position. Junho asked his first officer, Yes, Captain. Behind the star? They cannot be detected. Junho nodded. Good. When the Kalari come, let them push us back. Let them think they are winning. And when they commit their full force, we close the trap. His first officer hesitated. And if the trap fails? Junho looked at him steadily. Then we die fighting. But we will take so many of them with us that the survivors will have nightmares for generations. That is the human way. The hours passed, then days. The Kalari fleet moved closer. On Earth, people went about their lives. Children went to school. Workers went to their jobs. Lovers walked in parks, and artists painted, and musicians played. Life continued, but everyone knew what was coming. Everyone felt the tension in the air. Nari Yoon stood on the bridge of the Iron Promise, watching the tactical displays. Thrin's fleet had crossed the outer boundary. They were now in human space. She opened a channel to all Earth forces. This is Commander Yoon. The enemy has arrived. All ships begin Operation Homecoming. It is time to remind the galaxy why they should never have made us their enemy. Across human space, ships powered up their engines. Weapons came online. Soldiers checked their equipment one final time. War had come, and humanity was ready to answer. The Terras. System had been silent for 12 years. Ever since the Kalari took the mining stations, no human ship had entered this space. But now, the system was about to become the most important battlefield in galactic history. Counselor Thren stood on the bridge of his flagship. Around him, 200 Kalari warships filled the darkness like angry stars. He looked at the tactical display with satisfaction. 30 human ships waited ahead. Just 30. They are either brave or stupid, his admiral said. Stupid, Thren replied. They always were. Today we take back what they stole. Tomorrow we take their colonies. Next month, we take their world. He gave the order to attack. Captain Junho Beek watched the Kalari fleet move forward. His 30 ships held position near the system's outer planets. He could feel the tension on his bridge. Every officer knew they were outnumbered. Every officer knew they might die today. Steady, Junho said calmly. Remember the plan. We do not need to win. We need to survive long enough. The first Kalari weapons fired. Energy beams sliced through space. Junho's ships scattered, moving in patterns the Kalari had never seen. Human ships were smaller, faster. They danced between the enemy fire like leaves in a storm. Turn fire, Junho ordered. Target their forward ships. Make them think we are desperate. Human weapons hit the Kalari line. 3 enemy ships exploded. Then 5 more. The Kalari pushed forward, confident in their numbers. On the Dominator, Thren smiled. They fight well for insects, but numbers do not lie. Push harder. Crush them. The battle continued. Junho's ships fell back slowly, always just ahead of the Kalari weapons. They lost 2 ships, then 3. The enemy pressed forward, sensing victory. JUNHO watched the tactical display. The Kalari fleet was now completely inside the system, exactly where he wanted them. Send the signal, he said. Behind the system star, Commander Narration received the signal on the Iron Promise. She stood on her bridge, surrounded by 300 human warships that the galaxy had never seen. All ships, she transmitted. Full speed. Attack formation. Show them who we are. The human fleet emerged from behind the star like a wave of fire. The Kalari sensors screamed warnings. Thren's face went pale as his display filled with new contacts. "That is impossible," his admiral whispered. "Where did they come from?" 300 ships hit the Kalari rear like a hammer. The first volley destroyed 40 enemy vessels. The second volley destroyed 30 more. The Kalari formation shattered into chaos. Narayan's voice echoed across all frequencies. "Counselor Thren, did you think we spent 30 years doing nothing but filing paperwork? Did you think patience meant weakness? We let you believe we were prey. Now learn what happens when the prey becomes the hunter." The battle became a slaughter. Human ships moved with perfect coordination. Every captain knew their role. Every crew had trained for this exact moment. They had practiced in secret for decades. They had prepared for the day when justice failed and war became necessary. The Kalari tried to retreat, but Junho's ships had circled behind them. They were trapped between two human fleets with nowhere to run. On the Dominator, Thren screamed orders that no one could follow. His bridge was on fire. His admirals were dead. His empire was dying around him. A human boarding team cut through his ship's hull. They moved through the corridors with terrible efficiency. Kalari soldiers fell before them. Nothing could stop them. Thren ran for his escape pod. He was almost there when a hand grabbed him and threw him to the ground. Hannah Cho stood over him. Her wounds were healed now. Her eyes were cold. "Going somewhere?" she asked. Thren tried to speak, but she hit him across the face. Hard. 20 years, she said. 20 years of murders. 20 years of lies. 20 years of waiting for justice that never came. Now justice finds you. She put restraints on his wrists and dragged him back to the bridge. Outside the view screen, Kalari ships burned and died. In 2 hours, the greatest fleet the Dominion had ever assembled was reduced to wreckage. Nari Yun transmitted to the surviving Kalari vessels. "This is Commander Yun of the Human Defense Fleet. Your fleet is destroyed. Your leader is captured. Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly. Continue fighting, and you will join your friends in the darkness." One by one, the remaining Kalari ships powered down their weapons. Across the galaxy, the news spread faster than light. The humans had won. Not just one, but destroyed a force 6 times their visible size. Species that had dismissed humanity as weak suddenly understood their mistake. Species that had helped Thren suddenly felt very afraid. On Station Axiom, High Arbiter Velos watched the reports in silence. He had underestimated the humans. Everyone had. Now he wondered what would come next. Conquest? Revenge? The destruction of everything the Federation had built? But the humans did something the galaxy did not expect. They offered peace. 3 weeks after the battle, Taeho Kong returned to Station Axiom. Not as an ambassador this time, but as a mediator. He walked into the council chamber where he had been denied so many times before. Now, every seat was filled. Every species wanted to hear what humanity would say. "We have won the war," Taeho said. "But we do not want to rule the galaxy. We do not want to destroy the Federation. We want something simpler. We want justice." He looked at Velos. "You failed us. The tribunal failed us. But we are willing to try again. On new terms." He presented humanity's proposal. A new galactic tribunal with transparent rules. Joint security provided by multiple species, including humans. No more secret deals. No more murdered judges. True equality for all members. "This is not a request," Taeho said. "It is an offer. Accept it, and we will rejoin the Federation. Reject it, and we will build our own alliance. One way or another, humanity will have justice. The only question is whether you want to be part of it." The council debated for 3 days. In the end, they accepted. They had no choice. The old order was broken. Humanity had broken it. 1 month later, the new tribunal opened. Woojin Park stood in the center of the chamber for the 148th time. But everything was different now. Human soldiers stood beside alien judges. Security cameras watched every corner. The shadows where assassins had hidden were filled with light. Judge Myrosol looked down at him with something like hope in her strange eyes. Case 147, she announced. Earth versus the Kaleri Dominion. The matter of the Terra's mining stations. We will hear arguments today. And today, we will reach a verdict. The trial lasted 3 hours. The evidence was clear. The verdict was unanimous. Earth won. After 30 years, Case 147 was closed. Justice at last. THRN was tried next. Then his admirals. Then the officials who had helped him. One by one, they faced the new tribunal. One by one, they were judged. The galaxy watched and learned. This was what justice looked like when fear no longer ruled. On the final day of the trials, High Arbiter Velos approached Taiho Kong. They stood together on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. I owe you an apology, Velos said. We thought we were protecting the galaxy from you. We never realized you were offering to protect us from ourselves. Taiho nodded slowly. Humanity does not seek war, but we will never again beg for what is ours by right. We will never again wait silently while our people suffer. Remember that. I will, Velos said. We all will. Far away, on Earth, children played in parks. Workers went home to their families. Artists created. Musicians played. Life continued. But something had changed. Humanity walked taller now. They had faced the galaxy's cruelty and emerged stronger. Narration retired from the fleet. She bought a small house by the ocean and spent her days watching the waves. Sometimes old soldiers visited her. They would sit together and remember the friends they had lost, the battles they had won, the future they had built. Junho Beak took command of the new defense fleet. He trained a new generation of officers. He told them the story of the Terra system. He told them to always be ready, always be prepared, because the galaxy was vast and full of dangers, and only the strong survived. Hannah Cho returned to intelligence work. She spent her days watching the shadows, making sure no one could ever threaten Earth again. She never forgot the wound she took saving Judge Myrosol. She wore the scar with pride, and Woojin Park. He returned to the tribunal. He had 146 more cases to present. Years of work ahead of him. But now the cases moved forward. Now, justice was possible. On the anniversary of the Battle of Terras, humanity held a quiet celebration. No parades. No speeches. Just a moment of silence for those who had died, and a promise to those who had survived. We are humanity. We came from a small blue world. We survived fire and plague and war. We reached the stars and found them cold and unwelcoming. We asked for justice and were denied. So we took justice for ourselves. We are not conquerors. We are not destroyers. We are survivors. We are builders. We are the descendants of everyone who refused to give up even when hope was gone. Remember us. Remember what we did? Remember what we can do, and never make us your enemy again. The stars burned bright. The galaxy turned, and humanity walked among the stars, finally equal, finally free, finally home.